Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hi, everybody. Damon Gonzalez, Latin Box Sports. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's well and safe. Today we have a very special guest, a friend of mine, dear friend of mine in the sport of boxing. Everybody loves him. He's a great guy, color commentator and ring announcer, Mr. Ray Flores. We'll be delighted to have Ray join us shortly, any minute now, on our live broadcast. We're going to talk about a couple of things in regards to the next couple of months, what's going to transpire with PBC, and see what's going on, and chop it up with my dear friend Ray, and kind of talk to the fans at the same time. I appreciate everybody that tunes in and joins us and participates in the Slip Punches show. And again, we're doing this not just for the fans. We want everybody involved. We want to interview the boxers, the managers, the promoters, the cutmen, the referees, everybody that's connected, everybody's even the fans, everybody that's involved. I'm gonna have some fans on the show, because it's for everybody. So we're looking forward and reaching out to everybody. And here we go. We have Mr. Ray Flores joining us on the Slip Punches show. How are you, Ray?
I'm okay, Damon. How are you, my man? Hope you and your family are safe in these rather difficult times within our country.
The same with you, my friend. I hope everything's well on your end.
Yeah, we're okay and safe. Living here in Santa Monica, it got a little bit turbulent on Sunday, but thankfully, even with the damage that happened amongst the city, my girlfriend and I were safe and sound. So that's the most important part.
Yeah, I'm very happy to hear that, Ray. I'm very, very happy to hear that. Ray, I've known you for a couple of years. I had the honor to work with you some years back. We were both in Las Vegas, and
Yeah.
we got to do a live together for
Mhm.
the Miguel Cotto Canelo fight in Las
Yeah,
Vegas.
absolutely.
And we had a lot of fun that day. Boy, what a night of boxing that was.
That was fantastic. I mean, to see Canelo go out and do what he did, and that was an excellent performance on his behalf. Also, we saw Francisco Vargas go out there and get the win over Takeshi Miura, which was, man, what an excellent fight, Damon. And Mandalay Bay had a big fight, and it was a really a wonderful night to see the Mexico against Puerto Rico rivalry renewed at that high of a level with two guys who have really been superstars within our sport.
Ray, I'll tell you, listen, you as a color commentator and ring announcer, you're a young man and you started your career in MMA. You've done some
Yes.
MMA stuff.
Mhm.
Talk about what led you into the sport of boxing as a commentator or as a ring announcer.
Well, I always loved boxing. I mean, I grew up watching Julio Cesar Chavez. I mean, that's what who I grew up idolizing, with my father and watching pay-per-views and events on Showtime, and also then kind of transitioning into the HBO days and stuff. So, when I was coming up, I started off in MMA when I was 17 years old, following around a guy by the
Wow.
name of Miguel Torres. So I've been involved in combat sports half my life, and I wanted to get into boxing, but it was at the time, this is 15, 16 years ago, it was older. It was an old school mentality. It wasn't until I got out of college that I started to change that based on promoters that gave me an opportunity. Bobby Hitz, who you know quite well in
Yes.
Chicago, gave me an opportunity. He introduced me to Artie Palullo at Banner Promotions, working for Golden Boy Promotions in the early going. My near and dear friend Joe Martinez was has been working in the UFC and doing events, and there were times where he had conflicting dates, so I would go in and ring announce for Golden Boy and Drusilla Boxeo and in Fox Sports. And then that transition to me working for Tom Brown at TGB Promotions, and him and his daughter Brittany Goosen Brown have been very kind to me. And then PBC came aboard, and I got in with PBC in June of 2015. So I am celebrating 5 years within the Premier Boxing Champions banner, and very happy and proud to be a part of such a great organization, and it just kind of built from there.
And I'll tell you, it's really been a long, fantastic ride for you. Hands down, PBC has really stepped up to put on some really magnificent competitive sports, and also showing the sport that they can cross reference and work with the top ranks and do things to, again, to show the fans what they want to see.
Now, Damon, you bring up a great point because, especially now during these times, just my philosophy on life has always been unity. Let's all do better. Let's all have success. I've been following your career for longer than what I've known you, and I love seeing what you've been able to do. Before we got on the air, I mentioned that I have so much respect for you because you have been
Thank you.
around this sport for such a long time and have covered. I love looking at the memories that you share on your Facebook page. You and I are Facebook friends, and the events that you talk about, your old photos. You have been there, done that over and over and over again. So I want to see, all the promotions in boxing do well, because the more boxing on television, the better it is for the fighters, the trainers, the media members, the matchmakers, the arenas, the networks, the TV people, the commentators. Why can't we all wish the best for each other? We need to change this attitude of division. And getting to your point about with PBC and Top Rank, I worked with Top Rank on the Wilder Fury 2 card back in February before the global pandemic of the coronavirus. And everyone worked so well together. We were in good spirits with each other. We were supporting one another, working side by side, putting on the best fights. And that's what the fans need. That's what they deserve. And both promotional entities seem to be open to it.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing. It was amazing watching, the top rank Evan Korn and Lee Samuels, and of course Swanson Kelly and Andrew, and just everybody working together to make the event in this generation happen. It's so good for boxing.
I agree. And you know what? It's only going to continue because, I get asked, hey, what do you think about Spence and Crawford? And I go, I think that fight, if both guys keep winning, that's going to happen. I think it opens up the door for more cross promotional fights because, everyone works so well together. And hopefully, that extends beyond just PBC and Top Rank, and we see other people working together. Matchroom and Golden Boy and Top Rank. Matchroom and PBC. I mean, I love to see it.
Now, Ray, I just got a confirmation earlier today from the Crawford camp. It looks like they are in talks, of course, in negotiations with Manny Pacquiao and
What
Crawford.
that's
So
an
that right there,
fight.
what are let's just stop for a second and say, hey, wait a second. What are your thoughts of that fight?
I think it's an excellent fight. Look, I know that Manny Pacquiao can literally fight whoever he wants. And him and Terrence Crawford, I think, makes an excellent fight because Crawford is that young, hungry lion who is a champion. But, does he have in the welterweight division? I don't think he has that signature victory. And when I look at the welterweights right now in the world, to me, I think that Manny Pacquiao is that guy that could be a signature victory for Terrence Crawford. He's missing that marquee name as a welterweight. For Pacquiao, he's 41 years of age, and he still has the love to fight at such a high level. I was so impressed with his win over Keith Thurman last July, knocking him down in the first round, and his ability to be able to pull off the W. 41 years of age, Manny Pacquiao. I don't know if we will ever see something like that done at 147 with the guy being 41 years of age.
Man, just speaking the breadth of that fighter is incredible. Because we've have seen and witnessed what this man has done through the years, and now watching him perform and fight like it's looking like a Star Wars movie, like looking at a Jedi, a Yoda, a guy that has so much experience, now going in with one of the toughest, hands down, trademark, which they all are, the 147 division, which is one of the best divisions in the sport right now.
Oh, I totally agree with you, Damon. And you know what? He is. We need to appreciate watching Manny Pacquiao because he doesn't have many fights left. In a perfect world, Damon, and this is just me speaking out loud here, my opinion. I hope we do see, these more of these marquee fights, but also I think that if the timing and we are out of a global pandemic, I hope that Manny Pacquiao has his final fight in the Philippines
Right.
because he has put the Philippines on the map, being a senator, all the humanitarian work he has done. Anytime you've covered countless Manny Pacquiao fights, the Filipino crowd come out and they love him and they appreciate him. Let's go to Manila and do the biggest stadium possible and pack 100,000 people in Manny Pacquiao's last fight. That is a way for us as a boxing as a sports society to say to Manny Pacquiao, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for promoting peace. Thank you for promoting boxing. Thank you for your excellence. Thank you for the sacrifices you've made for the sport.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely. That's something I would definitely love to be a part of and love to see. And you mentioned earlier 147 Errol Spence. We all
Mhm.
know the tragic accident that Earl went through
Yes.
some time back. And there's been the rumor mill, of course, they're talking about, which isn't officially announced yet, possibly him matching up with Danny Garcia. The only thing I can tell you is, look, Ray, come on, let's face it. I tip my hats to Spence
Yeah.
to come from an incident like this and then turn around and face one of the toughest 147 fighters instead of taking a tune up. That speaks volumes right there.
Damon, see, that's why I love hearing your analysis on stuff because I don't think that Spence is getting enough credit from other media outlets for what he's doing here. This is not an easy fight against Danny Garcia. There
Not
is
at
no
all.
tune-up fight, Damon. He's going right in. The WBC said Danny Garcia is the number one contender, and he's going right in. Pretty much, it's going to be close to a year layoff, if not more. The accident that he had, no tune-up fights, and he's jumping right in the fire. And Errol Spence told me a couple months ago when I was, because I do Instagram Live on PBC's page every single Monday
Right.
afternoon. And he told me, he goes, yeah, Danny Garcia is the fight I want. After that, I want to fight Pacquiao. If Pacquiao's still winning, and after that, let's do Terrence Crawford. Listen to the names that we heard. Garcia next, potentially Pacquiao after that, then Crawford. You've got to respect that, and you got to love that from Errol Spence.
Yeah, and again, he's definitely a superstar. And I know, again, it's to me, it's just deep down inside, it's like, what a risk, to come from what happened to him into a mega fight. Because it's a mega fight, it's a big fight. There's no
No,
question about it. And there are
100%.
some concerns there.
100%. Look, Danny Garcia, I feel like people have said, well, he hasn't had a spectacular performance recently. Well, Danny Garcia has been at the top of the heap for almost 10 years now. So, I mean, he's had so many signature wins over Amir Khan, Lucas Matisse,
Yes.
beating Lamont Peterson, having two very close fights against two of the best welterweights in the world, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter. He lost both fights, but very close losses. You cannot discount the greatness of Danny Garcia, who is just so fundamentally sound and has a terrific chin.
He went into enemy territory at the StubHub Center with the check hook knockout in LA.
Exactly. I mean, so you cannot discount out Danny Garcia for what he's been able to do. And Danny is still relatively young as a professional. I think he's barely 31 years of age. He's still in his prime. It's not like Danny Garcia is old and over the hill. I mean, and then people will say, well, what about the win against Ivan Redkach? He took him to the decision. Well, Danny Garcia didn't want to take unnecessary chances because he knew if Errol Spence was going to come back, then he would be in line for a summer blockbuster fight with Errol Spence. Now, this was obviously before the coronavirus happened and the pandemic, so I don't blame Danny Garcia. Who are we to say, oh, well, you should have knocked him out? Do you know how hard it is to knock out certain fighters? Like, that's
Oh
not
yeah.
easy.
Oh yeah. Ray, listen, knowing in a couple of weeks Top Rank's about to ring the bell. and
Yeah.
bring boxing back behind closed doors at the MGM in Las Vegas. And what a whew, sound of relief that we're gonna have boxing back. It's great. It's great for the sport. What are your thoughts about fighters fighting behind closed doors at these times right now?
It's going to be different, Damon, but it's necessary because right now, from our health officials, they said it is detrimental to have an arena of a couple thousand, if not several thousand. You know, these big prize fights, they attract 15, 20,000, if not more, in the arena. So I'm okay with the fights moving forward without fans because with the way that our society has gone with the economic struggles and the health issues and the turbulent times socially that we are in the midst of. I love the fact that we now have a diversion for entertainment that we are going to be able to see with prize fighters going in there in empty arenas and performing at the highest level. I think it's a wonderful distraction. It's great entertainment. And I want to see the best fighting the best. And, Shakur Stevenson's going to be up first, it sounds like. So I love it. And on my end, I can't wait for PBC to come back because I miss it. I miss calling fights. I miss, seeing people like you out and about and doing interviews and the camaraderie. I mean, we are all one boxing family, fans, commentators, matchmakers, promoters, networks. It's like, I mean, I hate to sound cliche, but it's like one love, man, one love in the boxing family. And it's great that it's coming back.
Ray, you've been doing this a lot of years, and you really at a great point in your career. The younger generation, not everybody wants to be a boxer.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kids, boys and girls, that look up to you and they see what you do and want to do what you do. What
Mhm.
would be your advice to them as a commentator and a ring announcer in the professional sport of boxing? How would you lead them in the direction to go the right direction in kind of accomplishing the goals that you set for yourself?
Well, what I would say is once the global pandemic is over and media can attend events, create a YouTube channel. Back when I was coming up through college, we were very much taught about, we didn't have the outlets like YouTube, like Twitter, like Instagram Live. Those outlets were not available to us to earn a living. So we had to go the traditional route, radio, television. That's all we had, Damon. Now you can create a YouTube page and start to generate content tomorrow. So when events start coming back, I'm not talking about the big events either. I'm talking about the club shows. The club shows is where you need to start. The younger fighters is where you need to start. When I started off, everyone wants to be, oh, I want to interview Manny Pacquiao, I want to interview Floyd Mayweather. You got to start off earning your stripes and going to the local club shows, interviewing guys who are 1-0, making their pro debut, top level amateurs, talking to the trainers, the matchmakers, the promoters. Learn all aspects of the business, but start off. Like, how can you? I think you put it out there. Someone that I know put it out there and said they put a picture up of the MGM Grand and it was packed. I forgot what fight it was. It was a photo. And they go, in order for you to get here, you have to start here in the small ballrooms, the small club shows, the small casino shows. That's where you start. So for those, the younger generation that wants to get involved, when you can go as a media member and cover events, go to the local club shows in your area. Damien, when I was coming up through college, I went and I covered UFC 100. I paid my own way to go cover UFC 100 to interview Dana White and Dan Henderson and Anderson Silva. I went to Toronto, UFC 129, almost 60,000 people to cover that event and do a couple of reports. I paid for it on my own. So you have to do those grassroots thing. If you believe in your vision, you believe in yourself, and you want to generate content, go out and do it. Because where there's a
Absolutely.
will, there's a way, my man.
Absolutely, Ray. Well said, man. I appreciate you so much, man. Listen, give a shout out to all your fans. You have
Oh,
so
well,
many people that adore you, man. They respect you. Give a shout out to all the people.
I want to say without the public, we are nothing.
Mhm.
I have been able to make a living for myself and my family because of the opportunity presented to me by promoters and networks. But most importantly, we would be nothing. I would be nothing without the fans. So with that, I say thank you. I love all of you. I appreciate it. The good comments, the criticism, it all comes with the territory. I love you all. Keep watching, keep being good to each other. And I'll say this, Damon, not to get on a high horse here, but the only violence we should be seeing in our world is that within the boxing ring and the MMA ring that is regulated by our state athletic commissions. So that's the only violence we should be seeing. Other than that, let's all be peaceful. Let's all be kind to each other. And you know what, man? Let's try to be more positive in our world. I'm tired of the negativity. Let's be positive, bro. I wish you the best and safety, and let's
Thank you.
get past the coronavirus in these social turbulent times. And let's thank you to all the fans for being so great to me over the years. And I will continue to bust my butt, work hard for all of you to give you the best broadcast possible every time I'm on the air.
Ray, I always appreciate you, man. And I'll see you in a couple of months back in the arenas.
Thank you very much, Damon. Likewise, stay safe, my man, and let's all remain positive. Take care,
Thank
brother.
you so much for joining us on the Slip Punches Show, buddy. Thank you guys for tuning in today on the Slip Punches Show with myself and Ray Flores. We appreciate you guys following. We'll be back soon with another show shortly. Thank you and have a blessed day. Bye bye.